So a major news story coming out of the India-Canada relationship. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs has released one of its most caustic and aggressive statements attacking and denouncing Canada after it received a diplomatic communication from the Canadian government of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that Canadian authorities are investigating High Commissioner Sanjay Verma, that's India's High Commissioner to Canada. Sanjay Verma and other Indian diplomats in Canada are being investigated, are persons of interest in a Canadian investigation. Of course, the statement by the Ministry of External Affairs doesn't make clear which investigation, but we can safely presume, I think, that this is about the investigation into the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, the noted Khalistani activist and designated terrorist by the Indian government, who was assassinated in Canada. The Indian government, of course, attacked the Canadian government in the past for making the accusation that India and the Indian government was somehow behind this assassination. And today, the Indian government has made a major statement. So what happened, of course, like I said, that the Indian government, of course, received a communication from the Canadian government saying, presumably, that it was looking at High Commissioner Sanjay Verma, who is really one of India's most experienced diplomats, 36 years of experience in the Foreign Service. They are looking at him as a person of interest in the investigation, as well as other Indian diplomats. And India has responded absolutely furiously. I have been a journalist for several years now, and this is probably the most caustic and aggressive statement that I have seen the Indian Ministry of External Affairs make. And they say very clearly, of course, some things that we've heard before. They clearly attack the Canadian government for engaging in vote bank politics. Remember, what that means is that India is effectively saying that the Canadian government is soft on Khalistan-related issues because it has a large number of people from the Sikh diaspora who vote for the Liberal Party of Canada, which is Justin Trudeau's party, on the basis of this issue. They don't want to offend voters from particular minorities who may have Khalistani sympathies, and therefore they are not taking this issue carefully and seriously. So that's one accusation that the Ministry of External Affairs makes. First of all, it says that these are preposterous implications and ascribes them to the political agenda of the Trudeau government that is centered on vote bank politics. So obviously attacking this latest development and stating that it sees this as a political move by the Trudeau administration that is in line with the fact that over the last year or so, India has clashed with Canada because it believes that it is not serious about combating the Khalistan issue and is trying to smear India. That's another accusation the Indian Ministry of External Affairs has made in this extraordinary statement, where it's saying that the Canadian government is trying to smear the Indian government and ruin India's reputation globally by making these charges. Remember, also in the statement that the MES makes, it is said that, look, you have not given us any proof or any evidence that we asked for on the Hardeep Nijjar case. Remember, this is a noted pro-Khalistani figure who was assassinated in Canada in June-July last year. So in June of 2023. Then in September 2023, the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau stood up in front of the Canadian House of Commons and said that agents of the government of India or affiliated to the government of India may have been responsible for the assassination of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. India had vehemently denied this accusation, but later had said that, look, if you have concrete proof, if the Canadian government has concrete evidence that India was involved, we would like to see such evidence. The Ministry of External Affairs making very clear here that India has not received the kind of intelligence or evidence it asked for, and therefore, in the absence of that evidence, it has concluded that what Canada is trying to do is trying to score political points of this investigation. It is not looking to really come to a proper resolution on this conflict. So, of course, saying things about Canada that has in the past, but something that is absolutely extraordinary that the Canadian government, that the Indian government has done in this statement, absolutely extraordinary, is the level to which it has attacked Prime Minister Justin Trudeau personally. This is something that is very rare in Ministry of External Affairs statements that generally tend to be fairly sober, even though we've seen them become more aggressive slightly in the past. But Justin Trudeau is being attacked directly. It says, and I quote, Prime Minister Trudeau's hostility to India has long been in evidence. In 2018, his visit to India, which was aimed at currying favor with the vote bank, rebounded to his discomfort. This refers to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's visit to India in 2018, where he was very controversially, his wife was controversially photographed with Jaspal Atwal, who was someone who was convicted for trying to harm and kill a visiting Indian politician who in the 1980s, Jaspal Atwal was convicted for this crime. He was associated with pro-Khalistan causes, and he had then become a major figure in the party, in Liberal Party politics. Again, the Liberal Party of Canada is Justin Trudeau's party. He was invited in 2018 to a reception to welcome Justin Trudeau as well as his wife Sophie Trudeau at the I believe the Canadian High Commission in New Delhi 2018, and he was photographed with Trudeau's wife, and this hit all the major headlines. It's someone who is a convicted Khalistani sympathizer, convicted of a crime of trying to kill an Indian minister, is being photographed with the wife of the Prime Minister of Canada. There were lots of apologies, lots of statements made by the Canadian government that this was totally not intentional, but since then India has always looked at it as an evidence of what it sees as the Canadian government and the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's complicity in what it sees as Khalistani extremism and separatism. The Indian government has also said that Trudeau's cabinet has included individuals who are openly associated with an extremist and separatist agenda. They're also talking about how he has interfered in India's politics. Remember that he made statements about the farm law protests that were taking place in India when the Modi government was trying to pass 3 farm law related bills making reforms to India's agricultural system. Justin Trudeau had made a statement at that point in time. India had not taken kindly to it. And in fact, in this statement, the Ministry of External Affairs says very directly that the government of Canada is responsible for naked interference in India's domestic politics. Folks, I can tell you that it does not get, you will rarely, if ever, read a statement this harsh that is put out by the Indian government. It also, the Indian government also says that it is no coincidence that this takes place as Prime Minister Trudeau is to depose before a Commission on Foreign Interference. It also serves the anti-India separatist agenda that the Trudeau government has constantly pandered to for narrow political gains. So India making very clear that, look, this is just not someone we can work with. This is just not someone we trust. This is someone who we actively believe has sponsored groups and interests in Canadian life that are run absolutely counter to what India believes is necessary for its national security. So really just a signal that this is a breaking point for India-Canada relations, that there is going to be no progress in the India-Canada relationship so long as Justin Trudeau is in control. This is something that the Ministry of External Affairs will rightly regard as an attack on one of its own, because remember, I started this live by telling you about how the MEA has put out the statement because the Canadian government has done something extremely serious. It is saying that it is going to be investigating Indian diplomats and the Indian High Commissioner in Canada, someone who has decades of experience, almost 4 decades of experience in diplomacy, one of the most senior-most Indian diplomats that are out there in the world right now, and they're saying that they're going to investigate him in a Canadian investigation. Of course, we're presuming with the high degree of likelihood that this is the Hardeep Nijjar assassination case. So this is absolutely something that is a no-go area for India. They said very clearly the aspersions cast on him, that's High Commissioner Sanjay Verma, by the government of Canada are ludicrous and deserve to be treated with contempt. So absolutely, it does not get any more direct or any more harsh or any more aggressive than this, and the MEA making clear that what it thinks about Canada's latest diplomatic move on this front. And finally, and this is the really important bit that I would like you to take away from this, the Ministry of External Affairs has said that it makes a very, very clear, you may call it a threat if you wish, or it may be a warning as well, that the last time something like this had happened, India had insisted on reciprocity in diplomatic missions. What that essentially meant was Canada had more diplomats in India than India had in Canada. Several Canadian diplomats were asked to leave the country, which they subsequently did on a tight deadline. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs is now saying India now reserves the right to take further steps in response to these latest efforts for the Canadian government to concoct allegations against Indian diplomats, which means that you are likely to see retaliation by the Ministry of External Affairs and the Indian government against the government of Canada for going after the High Commissioner of India to Canada. So this is absolutely a no-go area for the Ministry of External Affairs. Just a couple of days ago, there were conversations about, a brief interaction between Justin Trudeau and Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Laos on the sidelines of the India-ASEAN summit, and of course the East Asia summit. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had talked about it. There were some conversations about, oh look, does this represent something of a change in bilateral relations? But absolutely not. It seems, basis the statement, that things between India-Canada relations are, if not better, if not the same, worse than what they were after Justin Trudeau made his accusations in September 2023, accusing parts of the Indian government of potential involvement in the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. That's all I have for you right now. I've read you the statement, the important bits. given you, I hope, a little bit of context. We are doing our utmost to get you some more perspective on this. We'll have some more experts, some ambassadors here to talk to you about what exactly this statement by the Indian Ministry of External Affairs means, how unprecedented it is for the government of a particular country to investigate the High Commissioner of another nation for a crime, for a potential assassination investigation. It is a massive, massive deal, and the Ministry of External Affairs leaving no doubt what it thinks about Canada's accusations, but also leaving no doubt about the fact that it is willing to take retaliatory steps against the Canadian government if this matter proceeds any further. Thank you so much for watching India Today Global. We will absolutely keep you updated on this story, and we'll catch you again on this story throughout the day. Thank you.